So we'll have to do this early so then I can crack some.
Oh, wait, because we are live.
Oh,
Welcome one and all to the Friday Marketing Happy Hour, which used to be called the Don't Dream It, Stream It Hour. Our hours are actually probably going to turn more like into 30-minute sessions instead of a full hour.
Probably.
You're going to get more for your entertainment, $50. Exactly. So I am Dr. Christopher Vogelmann of Maximize Your Media, our digital agency, as well as our coaching program, which has been currently called Life Beyond Practice for doctors who want more free time, freedom, and fun with their own online businesses. But I think I may be rebranding to Crucial Business or something like that, because I've got requests from other professionals in other industries to do something that's not totally for doctors. And with me, as always, is the wonderful, the talented,
John
the beyond believable.
That's me, John Paduchak. How you doing? Hey, so Targeted Net Solutions is our digital agency, and we might be rebranding too.
Everybody rebranding.
Been thinking about that, so we might be doing that to Videos Are Social. But
that was just an R or an ARE?
An A. It could be either. I have both.
Like Toys R Us.
I have both, just for fun. So, and of course, so Targeted Net Solutions, our digital agency, specializing, of course, in video and social media.
All right. So we have today's topic was that you need a whack in the head. But before we go to whacking our heads, what you drinking?
That's a good question. You gonna pick for me today?
Have you decided yet? We have to decide.
I haven't. So we've been having some fun with branding here because we were talking about branding the other day. And I said we have so many cool microbreweries around my area, and the branding for the cans is quite interesting. So this is a Lithuanian lager.
My God, it looks like your father.
It looks like somebody in my family for sure. It's pretty funny.
Or the genetic line.
If you've seen pictures of my father, it does kind of look like it. It's pretty funny. And of course, like I said, I love the fun branding on these Candy Mountain Charlie.
What is it? Something Mountain?
Candy Mountain Charlie.
Oh, I thought it was Spooky Mountain Charlie.
It's something a sour beer.
Yeah.
And then we got this one. This is give your hops a tug.
A tug, not a drug.
Tug.
Give your hop. Oh, you're gonna pull them off.
We're picking them. Yeah. And then this is Pearly Girl.
Pearly Girl, not to be confused with the Pearly Gates.
Pearly Girl from the Moon Hill Brewing Company here in Gardner, Massachusetts.
So the question, I'm going to ask you the question shortly as to which one you're going to choose. But for me today, since I'm off the wagon recently, we are going with a Mexican beer, a dark Mexican Modelo Negro.
Nice.
I'm not afraid of the dark.
I think I'm a little partial to the beer of my ancestors for today. So
they weren't Lithuanian. I thought they were.
I'm going to give that a crack.
I thought they were from.
They're right next door. They're Ukrainian.
Next door.
It's not that far away.
Next door, the Russians. You got to watch out for them.
Oh yeah, I know. We definitely got to watch out for them. And it's funny that the area where my family came from was once part of Poland, once part of Austria, and Ukraine. It's like a funky little area of the world.
Funky.
Yeah, pretty well.
Funky.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, cheers. L'chaim. Next year in Jerusalem. No, I'm not Jewish, but sometimes people think that I am. Because I hung around a lot of Jewish friends in college. They used to call at the University of Rochester. I remember some of my friends from there. They used to call it the Jew of R. Everybody from New York City was going to Rochester.
I had many Jewish friends because I used to work for an Israeli company.
Well, there you go. That'll do it.
I'll do it. Even spent some time in Israel. It was a great place. Loved it.
Really? I have yet to go. That would be
for a couple weeks. Cool. It was awesome.
Wow.
I enjoyed it greatly. It's quite a lesson.
Quite a lesson. Well, that was our little lesson in branding. So which one have you chosen? Did you choose the ancestral brand?
I went with Lithuanian.
What's it taste like though?
It tastes like
beer.
It tastes like a Lithuanian Pilsner, like a Czech Pilsner. Like I kind of grew up drinking. Good stuff.
You grew up drinking? Did you start really early?
Well, you know.
No, not at all.
No.
Hey, so we're talking about branding. We're talking about ideas and other things like that. And the reason we came to this topic of what that you deserve a whack in the head is not because I am an advocate of head injuries, but because I've been working on a project with cards, and I have different decks of cards for different purposes. The funny thing is, I was on a live broadcast was it yesterday or today? I can't even remember now which day it was, but they were talking about using cards as a marketing tool. And
Yeah, I like the idea.
I had a deck of cards created about 10 years ago, as a matter of fact, and stuck the project away. And I'm reviving it now because if you think about all the things that are going on with the pandemic and people staying at home and creativity and enjoying playing games and interacting with other people, using cards is one of the most interactive tools that I have ever found. And it just depends on how you set up the rules. And one of those decks that I was looking at is an old one. This one's from 1992, which is called the Creative Whack Pack. In fact, since we're talking about branding, let me go over here. Oh, come on. Where'd my cursor go?
That's right.
Where'd you cursor my cursor? There it is. This was from 1992 called the Creative Whack Pack. And it talks about having a whack in the head. Ow, that actually hurt. And there's a whole series of different cards, and you can use these to express different ideas. And in particular, they're great for brainstorming. And so I pulled out a couple of cards yesterday as John and I were talking, and we thought, we could start out just talking about how some of these creative ideas may influence your marketing, your branding, and how you sometimes have to, the old hackneyed expression is think out of the box.
Yeah.
Of course, was it like the Matrix? They say, the spoon, and they say there is no spoon.
There is no spoon. And I like the idea when we talked about a couple of weeks ago, because we were talking about gamification and you mentioned the cards. And I kind of like the idea of, a lot of times we're working on something, we need a bit of a reframe, and the cards you showed me would be great for that.
Yeah, so I've chosen 3 out of the 64 cards. So this deck, this particular deck is 64 cards. The one that we made several years back,
64 pickup.
Well, no, there's about the equivalent number here in the game deck. Yeah. But what I was doing was revising the game deck, totally recreating the life deck, and then creating a business deck. But it's going to take a while to finish designing all of these things, producing them, and then distributing them. But I think it's going to be a fun way for marketers and actually any business owner to be able to come up with some unique ideas so you can cut through the noise that exists both online and in the offline world, especially since we have a lot of news going on a regular basis. So I'm going to start with this one here. This one is a great one. This is the Don't Fall in Love with Ideas card.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. So I'm just going to read off this card because it talks about saying that when you fall in love with an idea, you won't see the merits of alternative approaches because you're kind of hooked on your idea, and you'll probably miss some opportunities over time. One of the greatest pleasures is letting go of a previously cherished idea, and then you're able to look for new ideas. So the questions that they ask at the end of the card is pretty interesting. It says, what part of your ideas are you falling in love? No, wait a minute. I don't know. Oh, what part of your ideas are you falling in love with? And can you have the strength to kiss it goodbye?
That's a tough one sometimes.
So do you have an example by chance? I'm sorry. Can you hear those planes?
I can. No, I thought I could, but I think it's my something in my house. Sounds like a plane.
The cargo planes have been taken off like crazy yesterday and today. My suspicion is, are we going to war with China, or are we
live near a naval base? That's what happens.
Within walking distance, it's a little scary sometimes.
I know.
Anyway, so what ideas have you fallen in love with? I'm trying to test my ideas nowadays.
Well, I'm just trying to think of an idea that I really got overwhelmed with.
Well, one that you fell in love with. You thought this is the bee's knees. This is the cat's.
I had this idea for a while of a kind of a broadcasting station emanating from one of the major social media platforms. And for a while, I thought it would be Facebook. And
like a Roku or just Facebook? It's like an existing social media.
Just an existing social media platform, and just kind of turning it into kind of a round-the-clock broadcasting station. And it was an idea I kind of fell in love with, but in reality, it would have been kind of hard to do. Just would take a lot of people broadcasting at the same time, and being wasn't just a one-man deal. It was.
So you were going to be the producer and the ringleader.
I was thinking of being the producer and ringleader of such venture.
And I'm trying to move back so I get the sun away from me here.
There you go. That's much better.
I think that works.
Yes.
Okay. So you gave up on that idea, or you still want to do it?
I still want to do something like it, but it's.
Would you consider Roku?
I have considered Roku, actually, and it's a really good platform to do that on. And I know some people that are doing stuff similar. I probably will do something like that in the future, and garner up about 20 friends and go for it. I think
how expensive is it to do a Roku?
It's fairly expensive to get started, from what I saw. And if you try to create, because usually you would go to somebody who's got a platform already created,
right,
and then create your own channel off of theirs. I know a couple of people doing that. I haven't really gone back into looking at it that closely.
Yeah.
So something I need to go revisit again at some point, because I would like to do that. Roku's in, 60 or 80 different countries now. Just like YouTube, great way to get TV like publicity, and maybe even better, because your own channel. And people can easily tune in because of the Roku box. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I fell in love with the idea was fell in love with LED flashlights and bike lights. And I falling in love with them is maybe too strong a word, but selling them on an e-commerce platform was the thing that was like, oh, this is the best. This is everything. Because I had a good friend of mine who was doing about $400,000 a month selling flashlights. Well, if he can do it, I can do it. And I went to China. I went to the Canton Fair, which is in Guangzhou, and spent a lot of time talking to all of these vendors and getting my own particular brand created called Perfectly Vivid. And I got one right here. This is hilarious.
There you go.
This was the brand. Speaking of branding, boom, there's the flashlight, the Perfectly Vivid flashlight.
Nice.
Ooh. Actually, I like the branding on it.
It's a good style too.
It's not a bad style. They were very nice. They're really great. I think that there are many different challenges that you have. We made
Is it rechargeable? Rechargeable?
No, these are not rechargeable. These use AAA batteries.
I have a rechargeable that looks just about like that.
Yeah, these are AAA batteries, and I will say, you get this little battery pack here, with AAA's. Through here. The funny thing was that although the idea was somewhat good, I just think that the whole notion that I was going to be in love, it was almost like puppy love, or I was infatuated with the idea of selling these flashlights.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily a business that I had a great deal of passion for. I like the idea of making the money, but as our friend Rich Sheffer would say, I was more of an opportunistic thinker than I was a strategic thinker.
Yeah.
And so falling in love with the idea of these flashlights probably derailed a lot of my productivity for about 18 months or so.
I had an interest in doing something like that for the camping realm, and I just never really found quite the right thing. I looked at flashlights and different things that I utilize or that I really like, try to improve upon some things, but that was another idea I kind of fell in love with, but never really took too far.
Well, but I think if the
right thing.
The worst thing is when you fall in love with an idea and then it never takes off. This one actually did take off, but I think I fell in love with the idea of e-commerce
Yeah.
And in retrospect, I would have been personally, having been in nutrition and chiropractic and doing a lot of functional medicine work, I probably would have been better off in the supplement market, even though it was more competitive than the LED flashlight and bike light market. And because my passion was in getting products and therapies to patients so that they could have greater health.
Right. So
I think that's one of the things. I'm starting to burp from beer. I haven't had it in so long.
I know. I have the same problem. I'm going to go.
What's the gassiest country in the world? Carbonation. Jeez, that was rough. Hey, so the second one, the card out of the 64 cards in the creative whack pack, is getting rid of excuses. I'm going to try and make sure. There we go. Imperfect action here, folks. Getting rid of excuses. Rest in peace, excuses.
That's a big one.
This one I like in particular. This is the one with talking about, the famous thing we always talk about with Cortez and how his men landed and they burned the boats. So there was no excuse. You couldn't go back. And that's the basic story. So the questions that are involved here are, what are the factors that would make it difficult to reach your objective, and what can you do to get rid of the excuses? I think sometimes we give reasons why I can't do this. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy of this, that sort of thing. We come up with a whole series of excuses. What have been your favorite excuses?
I had a series of health excuses for a while, which I thought were pretty good. Mostly because at the time I couldn't find any solution to my physical issue. But looking back at it,
the difference may be, a genuine reason for why it's impossible to work.
Yeah. So for me, it was a genuine reason.
Here's an excuse I used years ago. I found this in the old deck of cards. Because I love this one here. It's gamify this shirt. I still have this shirt from long ago.
Nice.
But one of the excuses that I had for not continuing with my gamification project is I didn't have the right branding. So yeah, I'm sorry I don't have the right logo was my excuse. In fact, I even created a name for this. I called it Driven Engagement, which, by the way, doesn't exist anymore. But I kind of like the logo, actually.
Yeah, you do.
It's kind of bubbly, just like me. And so my excuse was I don't have the branding, or some of the other excuses I've had, I don't have the time. Now, mind you, I would still have the time to binge watch Netflix, or to look at YouTube, or scroll through Twitter. What do they call it? Doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling was in recent months. And there's always time if we choose to make the time.
Always.
So what have been some of your excuses? Mine where I don't have a logo and don't have the time.
Yeah, I've had a bit of that, because one of the new brands we were looking at, I hadn't come up with a logo yet. And I had to create a new website, and I didn't create it yet because I wasn't quite solidified on what I wanted to look like.
Hey, but do you have to have the website?
You don't.
That's the interesting thing.
You don't need it. That's the funny part about it. You could easily get through with social media, with creating something in Groove Pages or ClickFunnels, at least for the time being.
Or even just taking your email list or calling people up on the phone.
Yeah, you can always do that. I mean, there's so many ways to get around that. Plenty of solutions. You don't need that to stop you.
You don't have to have targeted net solutions in order to gather customers.
Right.
Although targeted net solutions does have customers.
It does.
It does. So, but I do think that we come up with a lot of, we call them reasons.
Yeah.
My child is sick. My this is that. And it's interesting because I've been, listening to a lot of videos and watching videos of people. One woman in particular took advantage of a coaching program not too long ago. Actually, no, this was about a year ago. And she did it even though her child was in cancer treatment at the hospital.
Yeah.
And so she actually went ahead and created the coaching program while her child was being treated with chemotherapy, because she wanted to show her son that man, these jets are loud. She didn't want to show him that.
I can't hear a thing.
That there is no obstacle that you can't overcome. And so she created a business while her son was hospitalized.
And that's smart, because so many times we think we can't keep going with something major going on that really is a good excuse, but we could still get past it.
Well, one of my favorite excuses is it's not ready. It's not perfect.
Oh man, that's like everybody's favorite excuse.
That's a favorite excuse.
That's a favorite excuse of the masses right there.
Yeah.
We hear that one a lot. And we go through it a lot. I mean, we all are a bit of perfectionists, even though I like to think I'm not a perfectionist, but
I like to think of myself.
I like to try to have things right.
Yeah, I think of myself as a recovering perfectionist.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we all are.
And if you have too much perfectionism, you tend to suffer from overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many things that we want to do, but the reasons, the excuses that we give are pretty amazing. And I often wonder if it's not because we're just trying to make ourselves feel good for not doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't do it. The old, I don't know if it was Zig Ziglar or somebody else, you say, the difference between can and can't was, can't if you believe it. And he used to say with a T that you crucify yourself. But Mr. T would say, I pity the poor fool.
Mr. You would definitely say that.
It's tea time.
I pity the fool.
I pity the fool. Hey, speaking of fools, I think we fool ourselves a lot of times into thinking that we're doing a lot of things, and I think procrastination really hits me hard, and I'm very reluctant to do this. And I think this is sort of my own self-analysis at this point, which is I like to procrastinate to a certain extent, and it's mainly because I don't set a deadline.
Yeah.
Setting a deadline is scary. Setting a deadline means that we make a commitment to having something done by a certain time. And if you don't like the word deadline, just like some people don't like the end zone in football, I like to think of it as a completion date. If you want to be a little more positive, as opposed to putting death into the equation. So let's see what they say on this one here. Okay, so for many people, the ultimate inspiration is the deadline.
It is.
That's where you put away your excuses and get down to the business of making your idea actually happen. So, what's your objective? What's the goal that you have in mind? Can you state it in a simple sentence? A single sentence. Can you state your objective? What are the key changes that you need to do to reach it? And then the big questions that they ask here are, where is your sense of urgency? And what tight deadlines can you give yourself? So this is one where we talk about launching a product or a program.
I don't know who's tried to do that.
I don't know anybody's
I know our own personal experience with.
So if you've been working on a project for several months, let us say.
Yeah.
And there have been many reasons that have taken us out of the scheduling. In fact, I actually had even declared to a group that both of us belonged to what our schedule was and what our launch date was. And unfortunately, that date has actually passed.
That date has passed.
And it's not one of those do as I say, not as I do. I think that both of us have been juggling different projects and maybe trying to do too many things at one time. So
yeah, we may have a couple things that were excuses that got in the way.
Reasons, but they're really excuses.
Yeah.
Like why? But the reason I haven't done it is because I need to finish my 6-pack.
Yeah. Or my 4-pack, as the case may be.
So what has been, are you good at setting deadlines? Because I'm not.
I'm not great at it either. Honestly,
let's say somebody externally gives you a deadline, like your term paper at the Rochester Institute of Technology
is due. Yes.
Will you accomplish that?
Of course.
Exactly.
You had no choice.
It reminds me, I actually had to hire people to make me do things. In particular, if I had a whole series of reports that I had to write for patients who were going to court or things like that, it's due on Tuesday. You better get it done on Tuesday. And I would actually do it. But I found that it was easier for me, at least, if somebody else set the deadline for me, and then I would comply. Excuse me, man, this is a burping time here.
A good one.
Is it that loud?
The burping hour. No.
Was it that loud?
No.
Oh, good. I don't want belching. Belch hour.
Yeah.
But I found that if I set the deadline, I wouldn't make it. But if I hired somebody to set the deadline, or if some external force set the deadline, I would do it.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten a little bit better with that now, but when you're working on marketing projects I think it's easier for me if I set a deadline with a client and I say, you know what, this thing will be done on Monday. And for example, I have a particular client right now. I said, I'll have something to you by Monday. I had an extra hour this morning and I did the whole thing and I sent it to him at noon. Yeah, that was self-imposed because I said, I'd give you by Monday. I delivered it on Friday. And to me, I would rather underpromise and overdeliver than have the reverse.
I do a lot of stuff like that to trick myself for deadlines, setting reminders on my calendar, using timers for when I'm doing things during the day. Those kinds of things tend to help me with deadlines.
So the thing is, now, do you call them deadlines?
No, I don't usually call them deadlines. I usually just call them due dates. Due dates. Due dates for me.
Due date. Actually, that's not bad.
No,
it kind of gets me to the mood of being like my book is due at the library. I have to return it at a particular time, or there's going to be a fine. That would be interesting. You could fine yourself. It's like the swear jar.
I know people who have done that, who will find themselves, and if one of the funniest ones that one of my friends uses is if he doesn't make his deadline, he sets a promise to give to a charity he dislikes.
Oh, that he dislikes.
That's an interesting one. Yeah.
So if he's really upset. Well, we have a charity. What would be in a charity he doesn't like, though? I'm really curious.
Also, like if he's a Democrat giving money to Trump or something like that.
Oh, it's not really a charity. I was thinking something.
No, but you know what I mean. Something something along that line.
Like you're what would you say? Like you're pro-life, and you have to give money to NARAL.
Something like that. Yeah. It's an interesting concept, and I found that very difficult for myself. But
would it be wicked hot?
I get it. It would be It'd
be wicked hot. It wouldn't be wicked awesome. Not awesome.
No.
So actually, we ran out of cards.
We
chose 3 cards for today. Hey, but we made it into 30 minutes.
That's perfect.
That's not bad.
No,
it's like 3-card Monty. I kind of like the card idea because it does, we can have a topic. I think for the future, we might just have a topic. We do that topic and we pull out the cards and see if the cards are going to fit in there in some way. Good mental exercise.
That'd be interesting.
We could do that. So we'll talk about some other topics that we can have next time. Man, I really downed this thing pretty quickly. How far along are you with the Lithuanian?
Halfway.
I am more than halfway. I've got a third left.
Well, look at you go.
Not too bad. I'm not slurring my words.
It's still early too.
It is
for you.
I made sure, in terms of branding, I made sure that I opened the Mexican beer with the German bottle opener.
That's perfect.
Deutschland. It's a little glary, but there you go. There's
German. A little glary.
Yeah, there. Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
I'm always experimenting with the light, trying to figure out how to do this. But your light, by the way, looks really good today.
It is. I put together another small light over here.
What were the challenges of doing the light?
Yeah, because just trying to find like a panel that would light things up appropriately.
What was your solution? I found this really interesting with the light on your left side. I thought that was interesting yesterday when we were experimenting with it.
Yeah, because I've got a light all the way on the other side of the room, and then on this side of me, I've got a curtain, and I tried opening the curtain and turning on the light in the other room. Wasn't bright enough, so I ended up using one of these little beauties.
Beauty, eh?
Pointing right directly at the wall. A little bit of an angle.
The wall or the curtain?
Curtain.
Yeah. That's interesting because the curtain's going to absorb a little bit of light and actually makes it look kind of softer. And this time,
it looks pretty good.
Yeah, this time the left side is illuminated actually more than the right, whereas normally at this time during the time change, it would go from fall to winter, the right side of your face is brighter.
Yeah, if I shut it off.
You shut it off?
None.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to seeing.
What's going on there? Whoa.
Well, yeah, not that.
Wait, no seizures.
We do not want anybody having an epileptic seizure today. So
there we go.
Disco John. Disco RV John.
That's me. That's what Cam would say.
Oh boy. Yeah, Cam would.
Disco RV John.
AKA Cam Fats.
Yep.
Hey, so we have reached that magic moment where we're going to say goodbye for today. We haven't given you an hour, but I think you really didn't want an hour.
Probably not.
But we'll continue to crank out content because that's what we do, and we do it for you.
Yes, we do.
So with that in mind, we hope that you have enjoyed our marketing happy hour or half hour, as the case may be today. Tune in next week for more marketing hijinks, advice, and news that you can use for your own marketing, both in online and your offline bricks and mortar business. As always, I'm Dr. Christopher Vogelmann.
And I'm John Paduchak.
Over there.
Until next time.
Next time, we'll see you at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Mountain, and noon Hawaiian Standard Time. All right. Bye for now.